friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time, and I'm here for a mid-August garden update. Today is actually August 19th, 2019, just so you know where we're at. And I want to talk a little bit, not just showing you the update, but talk a bit more about making the most of your small spaces and some other ways that you can do it. So let's get to it. Okay, so to start off with, this is one of the things I keep forgetting to show you. Does anything look odd about this apple tree? Well, what you're seeing right here, the apples are all done. This is our first apple tree to, for its apples to become ripe. And what you see here are some Sunset Runner green beans. Well, just beans. I use them as both a green bean and then a dry bean. And you can see right here is a tiny little bean. There's another one right here. It just started getting its beans. It's way farther behind all my other bean plants. In fact, I even forgot that it was out here, that I planted some beans out here, but and don't mind that gutter. We still got to get our new, we decided on new gutter, so we still got to take that gutter and haul it off. But so right down there at the base of the tree, planted the beans. This is one way you can make the most of your space. Another thing to do with beans, and I've done this before, is planting around corn and sunflowers. Because the beans pop up a lot sooner than the corn, it doesn't work well for me to grow them around corn, but it does do okay on my sunflowers if I plant them later. And then over here you can see my West Herb garden, my roses. I've not been keeping up on. There's so much going on, dang it. But I need to get out here and pick them and dehydrate some. The echinacea, I actually cut a couple of stalks off here and dehydrated that. I'll probably come out and get this other stalk that's practically laying on the ground and put that on the dehydrator. Elderberries are doing great, as well as most of my other herbs here. Okay, now let's go around front. Here's that valerian that got all hacked clear to the ground. It's pretty much done growing, but still looking very healthy. And again, don't mind the scaffolding. Still got more roofing stuff to do, but we're almost done, almost there. So calendula, there's another pink calendula. The funny thing about that one is it's a lot more pale than my other ones, but it could be because my marshmallows are laying over. When we got some heavy rain, it weighed them down, because marshmallow leaves are absorbent and they will soak up the rainwater and then get heavy. But I'm going to come cut all these back since I have so much marshmallow as it is. But we just made up some more marshmallow seed packs. We're selling plenty of marshmallow on our store. Then another thing to think about is your fruit trees. When you're planting your comfrey, plant it at the base of your fruit trees, because not only is it going to be beneficial to your fruit trees, it's just going to give you another place to grow it and add more greenery around there. Okay, so here we go with the more pink calendula and yellow and orange. So I'll be coming out here after shooting this video so I can pick these and get them on the dehydrator, trying to get lots of calendula put away. So the amaranth is really starting to grow. You can see it's getting its rope-like flowers. These will get way bigger than this. And but you'll see updates coming along. Now I have a video just on amaranth leaves and their health benefits, but I dehydrate these up. I come pick these leaves, I use them in salads, I dehydrate them up, and I use them in my mixed greens blend. And then of course the grain, the seeds can be used as a grain for breads, so you can grind it up. I still haven't done that with the seeds yet. I usually just save them and replant them. But here's the other great thing about amaranth is, since I had the potatoes planted in here before all this, and then all this got moved in here, the amaranth is really good for the soil and helps add nutrients back into the soil. So it's another reason why I like to, once I harvest potatoes or other things that are done earlier, put some amaranth in place of that. So the broom sorghum is coming along. I'm just really curious about it. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I just wanted to see what it looked like. I wanted to see if it actually does make good brooms, or even something that could be a good art project that people might be interested in buying the stalks for using for whatever. So down here I have the ground cherries. So I've been picking some. Ground cherries are ready when they actually, usually this one looks about ready, but typically you know for sure they're ready when they fall. So let's see the color of this. This one, I see it splitting. Usually it's a good sign, but it's still kind of greenish on this back side. However, this is edible like this. Some say that if you pick them too young and eat them, they can make you ill, but I've never ever had that happen. So ground cherries are actually quite tasty. It's kind of a hard, some people describe them as tropical flavor, which I would say some people compare them to like a pineapple or something like that. And I would say, yeah, it has a tropical flavor, but other than that, I don't really know how to describe it. But they are good, and they grow, you know, they're very similar to a tomatillo in the way they grow, and they put out a lot. They put out a lot of ground cherries. But anyway, these are doing better than I would expect, considering that they're so shaded from either side between the zucchini and the and then the other stuff. Of course, this is south is this way, so this stuff over here won't hurt it any. It's more the stuff on this side making the shade. My zucchini's finally been slowing down, but this morning I came out here and found one I missed, and it's mammoth. I will show it to you. It's the biggest one zucchini I've got yet, and I'll show it to you when we head around back, which is where we're going right after this. I want to show you one more thing. Well, besides my fig tree. Lisa, look at my fig tree. Look at it. It's really just going crazy. Look at this. I'm so happy and just so thrilled. Okay, so little by little I've been moving all my strawberry plants out here, and some of you may recognize this pie tree. So the wedding's all over with. Kayla didn't need the pie tree for anything else, so I decided to move it out here, and I'm little by little I'm making more strawberry plants, and I'm gonna, like this will go up here, and I'll probably put another pot down here, and then this will eventually go back inside. This is my other grapefruit. It's kind of getting chewed by something, but it just doesn't get enough sun in the house right now because the angle of the sun. But in the winter time, the sun will come directly in through this window behind me, and I can sit it there and get plenty of sun. But anyway, that's what I'm doing, making more plants. So this will be my strawberry plant tree. No longer a pie tree, but a strawberry plant tree. So one way I'm making the most of my space, I just find strawberries do best for me when they're in pots rather than directly in the ground. And then this, this is a bean because I had this pot out back planted up next to something that it was climbing on. And I didn't realize there was a bean in there. I had peas in here, snow peas. I was done with the snow peas, pulled them out, and I didn't realize there was a little baby bean plant trying to grow in there. And then our big apple tree is doing really good, but out at the property, we've got tons more apples out there. Most of them are on city property, but nobody does anything with those but the elk. So we'll have more of the apples than we need from this tree alone, but we can also still get apples from out there. Okay, out here on the back deck, you can see this zucchini. So I weighed this thing. It is bigger than my dog. It is bigger than my firstborn child, who was my biggest of my two children. 8 pounds, 9.5 ounces. So biggest zucchini I've got yet. But I don't usually like to let them get this big. I just simply missed it. So I don't know how big. One of these days I'm just going to probably leave one and just leave it and see how big these things can get. Now these are from a tree that are on our property out there. And I had to pick them and bring them home and find out using one of those photo app things, plant identifiers. And I think it's called an Oregon crabapple. And it's not quite ripe yet, but it's actually really good just like this. It tastes like a sweet tart. You can just eat the whole thing, seeds and all. But this is how big they get. Just these little tiny things. So if you were watching my videos a while back where I was looking at these and I saw the blossoms, and like little tiny blossoms, I thought it looked like an apple tree, but the blossoms were so tiny. Well, that's why. I figured they might be crab apple, but I didn't know crab apple could come quite this small. So anyway, I thought you'd like to see those. Kind of interesting. So more calendula growing here on pots on my deck. I don't know why it is, but I always end up with yellow ones on my deck. It's just coincidence. I just put seed in there, and it's always the yellow ones that seem to like it in the pots up here best. If you're new, you might not realize that I grow all of my blueberries, which are done for now, in pots on my deck. I have 6 blueberry plants. I've had them in here for quite a number of years, and I get 3 to 4 gallons of blueberries off them every year. So it's just a matter of keeping them pruned back, which when this is all done, I will prune these back. Just like the grapes, they grow up and around these posts and beams that Patrick put all around the deck. And so we've got grapes all over the place, and no, they're not ripe yet. Here they take a long time. Unless you've got them in a greenhouse, they take quite a while before they're ripe. So they won't be ripe until I think it's late September maybe. But yep, we have quite a bit of grapes, and these are not the best, even though I like the flavor of them. They do have seeds in them. They're very tart. They make a very good wine grape though. The best wine that I've ever made came from these grapes right here last year. And using the grapes fresh to make the wine rather than the frozen. That makes the best wine. But the freezing the grapes first works too. All right, let's go out here to the main garden. See, my corn is flowering. This here is the garden huckleberry, and they're starting to turn black, getting close to being ripe. Now, they're not ripe until they're fully black, and then they go from being glossy to more of a have a dull finish on them. So they seem like they just are growing really good, and we'll see what happens, and I'll keep you updated. I'm going to try making a really small batch of jam out of just them first, once I got enough to do that with, and then I'm going to try to make some mixed with other fruit and see how that turns out. So again, it's said that they're not the best tasting things fresh, and you really don't want to eat them fresh. But once you, and they don't have a lot of flavor, but apparently once you cook them and add sugar to them, they're not only better for you, they're really quite tasty. See here the corn. One thing I like about the glass gem corn, it might not be a massive corn, but a lot of times, as you can see on this stalk right here, it's not a very big stalk, but it has 3 ears on it. I find that's pretty common. This one here also has 3 ears. So typically your corn, if you've never grown corn before, typically each stalk will only get 2 ears of corn, where the glass gem has a tendency to have quite a few that will get three ears of corn. So my corn isn't doing as good this year as it has in previous year, but this is the 3rd year growing the glass gem, and it's been one of the better ones. The other one that has worked really good for us is the Cherokee White Eagle, I believe it's called. I'd like to try that one again someday, but I've been so happy with the glass gem. But the Cherokee White Eagle is also a beautiful corn. And then here's that other garden huckleberry. So these garden huckleberries, remember, were planted where I once was growing some potatoes. And then this spot here that ended up just being the sorghum I had planted in here. Wasn't the broom sorghum like this is. It was that down there that's still trying to grow, and it didn't do well. So I just kind of gave up on it and started just moving stuff in here that I needed space for anyway. And then over in this section I had some potatoes, and so I dug up the potatoes, and then of course used some of my amaranth I started in a pot. Put that out here, moved a couple of calendula out here, which are doing so-so. And if you see a random banana peel, well, that's because that's where we just toss them out here in the garden. And anyway, the other thing I just did, as you can see here, is I planted some radish. Now, I've never tried growing radish this late, but from what I've been learning, this is the best time of the year here to plant radish. So this is the watermelon radish that one of our subscribers sent us. So we'll see how it turns out, and if it works better, not just planting it later in the year like this, because it does grow up fast, and apparently it won't get woody as quickly planting it later. And you can see my anticyp here. Flowers look like they're going to seed. I should probably try to save some seed off these, and if I can get enough, maybe even put these up on my store. I'm hoping to have a lot more offerings as far as seed go on my store this year, but it's just going to depend. Every year I'm trying something new. So let's take a look at these beans. So I'm done canning beans. So all the rest of the beans are going, I'm allowing them to grow and to become, to use for seed, which I plan on putting some of those up on my store, and the rest saving for seed for myself for next year, as well as using for chilies and things like that. But I still actually have quite a bit of beans that I dry, that I let dry and saved up from last year for using for chilies. And same thing with the purple. I use the purple as a green bean, and now I'm just letting them go to seed. And like I said before, I found these also make a good dry bean. Okay, had to go find my crazy little Cody. He managed to find his way out. But anyway, here's my tomatillos. Still going to be a bit before they're ready yet, but they're starting to fill in their little husks there. And look at the purples on this side. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'll offer the purple ones up on the store. It'll just depend on how many I get. But when I do the runner beans, I will be putting a mix of the, it's 3 types. It's the Sunset Runner, the Scarlet Runner, and the Barnside Sweet Runner. So this is the flower of the Barnside Sweet and the Scarlet Runner look a lot like that. The main difference between the two is just the size. The Barnside Sweet tend to be bigger. You see the size of that bean up there? That's probably a Barnside Sweet. Squash patch is doing decent. Now I've started seeing the orange butternut is starting to put out a lot more fruit, and that's good to see. It almost looks like this one and the pippin. See the holes here? Those chickens. I had to put this up and over so the chickens couldn't get to it as easy. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of the orange butternut coming on. There's a couple more right here. So that's pretty cool. It's probably the one I'm most excited about. Still don't see anything. I think maybe I saw one somewhere. No, it's mostly just the orange butternut. Not really seeing any of the striped cushaw. But these, I was right, so these actually do come in this color. This thing is still growing. There's another one there. So that's the Pippin Acorn. There was more to the name on that. It's just all I remember. And then this one down here. I see the color is getting darker. The scars again in it are from the chickens pecking at it. And then I still only have 2, I think maybe 3 of these, but this is the biggest one, whichever this is. That's looking really nice. So I have no idea what color it's going to be when it's done, but I'm very curious about it. And then one thing I wanted to point out by this section, because some people might think this is just wasted space here, though I still have some peas growing here. I had potatoes in here, and I decided not this time to plant anything in there, so I'm just kind of throwing stuff down there and just kind of letting it sit. Next year, I don't know if I'll let the potatoes grow there or not. I may just try to fill this up with beans and peas on that side alone, because they'll do fine there as long as I don't have any potato plants covering them up and keeping them from getting any sun, and then just squash on this side. But we'll see. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to do squash on that side. As long as I don't have any potatoes growing in here, I can pull that off. So it's not that it was wasted space. It was actually used. It's just not being used right now. Okay, and then here's a view of the main garden bed from this side. And again, some of these marshmallow plants will be coming out, but we'll let them flower, gather some more seed off them for this year. And yeah. And then dig these up, use the roots, dehydrate them. And there's another really beautiful orange calendula. That one's just a real nice color. And finally, I have marigolds blooming. Man, those things take forever around here. My blackberries, I came out here and picked a bunch yesterday. Still getting a lot, and they're hanging lower and lower, so the chickens have been eating all the low-hanging ones. And really filling up this spot. And then there's the grapes. You can see them from the opposite side. And now let's go into, let's peek down there. I got chickens down there. It's one of the black ones. I still haven't named the black ones yet because they need to grow and develop more personality and combs so I can tell the difference between them. So tomatoes, keep coming out here and picking a bunch. Been pureeing them mostly and dehydrating in sheets. I'm showing you right here. I've got some zucchini, of course. So this is almost dry. I just put it in the blender, process them, and then pour them onto these sheets. I put a little bit of avocado oil on here, and then when they're all dry, I break them up into flakes and then put them in a jar and vacuum seal them, and then use them for making sauces, ketchup, and other things, or just thickening other things. And my cucumbers, I finally got some lemon cucumbers forming, finally. There's one there. There's some more here and here. So it's about time. At least we'll finally get some and I can see if I actually like them. Another one down here. Okay, they're doing pretty good. This tomato here is the purple, as is that big one right there. That's still needs to ripen. It's just starting to turn. So that's the purple, where I'm assuming it's a purple Cherokee. I don't know, because the original seed came from a blend, just organic heirloom tomatoes that I bought fresh from the store, and I liked the purple one so much that I saved the seed off of one of them. and planted them last year, and then the seed I grew this one from is from the seed I saved from last year. So now you can see some of my Chinese 5-color. They only got one more color to go, and that is red. These aren't quite red yet. These are a deep orange. So they go from purple to cream, which is about what this is, and then yellow, and then orange, and then red. So we'll look over at them over here on this side. And by the way, I'm really liking these peppers. I've been picking them and adding them to, every day at lunchtime I've been, chopping up some zucchini and just sauteing it and then throwing in 1 or 2 of these. And that's what I've been eating for lunch. Really good. So you can see these. Look at all these purples. So these are all the newer ones. And then there's one right there. That's red. Or it could be a little darker red. I might leave it one more day and see how it looks. So it's pretty cool. We're seeing all the colors. The purple, the yellow. Okay, these ones here are in the process of going from purple to cream. So actually I don't have any cream colored ones on here right now. So almost got 5 colors. Looks pretty cool. And then the Marconis. Let's see, where's that one? These Marconis get pretty big and eventually they turn red. The only thing is here, they don't have quite enough time to turn red, but they still make a really great sweet pepper, even green. So I'll let them sit on there as long as I can, but I'll go ahead and pick them and use them green. Oh, and that right up there is some of the basil I've allowed to just go to seed. So I'm hoping to save those for planting next year. And then one more thing I wanted to show you, besides my little grapefruit that's still growing, are these. This is the ashwagandha. It's getting its little berries on here. Now, I'm not sure how safe, I need to do more studying on the ashwagandha. It is to eat the berries. You can see they grow much like the ground cherry. And so they'll get but the difference is the husk will actually turn red too, as does the berries. But I have read that the berries, and I think the leaves too, can be used medicinally. It's just mostly it's the root of the ashwagandha that gets used. So this year I'm just going to leave it in the pot, and then in the spring of next year I think what I'll do is transplant it into the ground, and I think I'm just going to keep it in the greenhouse. So if it makes it through the winter in here, then I will put it in the ground. Okay, well that's it for today, for this week, and I hope you got a few ideas seeing how I do things, of how you can make the most of your small space gardens, or even if you have a lot of property but you just have a small area you want to work, you don't want to turn everything into garden. Here are some ideas where you can make the most. Remember, you can grow those beans around anything, especially if they're a climber like the runners are, or any kind of pole bean. You can just plant those around anything and they will grow. So you make use of those trees. I know people that will also plant grapes around fruit trees and get a much better harvest of grapes when they plant them around their fruit trees. So just some things to consider. Okay, well I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.